guys, it's Santana. Unfortunately, Sade is not in this video, but she will be. We will be pumping the content, I promise. Like, actually, this is a promise I'm going to make, okay? But yeah, so based off today's video, I will be talking about what I read this month, or this past month actually, in August. I actually read 7 books, and I will be telling you also what I'll be planning to read in September. So yeah, if you're interested in reading or getting back into reading, starting up, or if you just like hearing different book reviews, then stay tuned and continue watching. Or if you just want to support Sanaa and I's channel, thank you, continue watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe as well if you like this. I hope to make this more of a occasional thing, incorporating my other hobbies, which is reading as of lately. So yeah. Also, most of the books I will be talking about, if not all of them, are about Black women and written by Black women. If not, it's written by a person of color and it's about people of color. My goal is to provide to you guys options, romance options, fantasy options, horror options that star and are about Black people, right? And so that's just my goal personally, but since I'm talking about it on here, I'm openly sharing it with you guys too, because there are a lot of options and a lot of books that star and are about Black people or people of color or others in marginalized communities that are just as great, if not better, than what a lot of these white authors and white main character books are about. Sorry, that was kind of a little tangent, but yeah, okay. So I just want to get started. I don't want this to be too long. So I did say I read 7 books in August. My goal was 4, and I exceeded the goal. And so this is the pile. Okay, so I'm gonna go through them one by one so you guys can all get a feel for each book. And if you're interested in any books and want any more further in-depth commentary about it, conversations, comment down below, because I'm always answering comments. So the first book I read was, or finished reading, was Love Radio by Ebony Liddell. I love this book. I believe I gave this a 4.5. And it's a young adult romance. It's about Prince Jones and I always forget her last name, Danny Ford. Yeah, Danny Ford. Prince is a radio host and Danny is an author, and they just fall in love. He falls first, and if you like if you're a big romance person and you like when the guy falls first, you're gonna love this book because he falls first and harder, and then she falls second. He's just a charmer, man. And the thing I love about romance, especially YA, is just like, I don't know, because I didn't have a teenage romance. So it's like when you're reading it, you're like, oh my God, there's people who probably are out here doing this. Like, he was planning dates. He was like, give me 3 dates and then you're going to want me. The 3rd date sold her because she was like, I don't do love. I'm focusing on myself. I don't need love. I don't need a man. And she is me. I am her. I am Danny. Because I was like, I don't need a man to, sweep me off my feet. I can do that for myself, right? And he proved her wrong, but respectfully. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't like one of those romance novels also where it's like the guy, he's like, you don't have to work. You don't have to do anything. I'll provide everything for you. Because like nobody, at least for me, I don't like that either. I don't want a man to just sweep me off my feet and I can't do anything for myself anymore, So this is it. I don't know if I sold y'all on it, but the cover itself should sell you if whatever I just said didn't. Then I finished Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall. I got this last Christmas. Started in January earlier this year, but I got I would say the 4th chapter and just stopped because of school, and I was just so busy. And then I was like, I need to read this because it's been sitting on my shelf. I don't want to buy books, and I have books at home that I have not finished or touched. So this was one of them. And also I had to be in the mood to read this because it's a lot of heavy topics like reproductive rights and poverty and all types of things that involve women or femme presenting folks and how that affects us in our daily lives and stuff like that. So this is just one of those reads I feel like everyone should read. And if you consider yourself a feminist or a womanist, or just all about empowering those who are femme presenting or women, I definitely think you need to read this. Your mind's going to change. You're going to feel so enriched with knowledge, okay? So, Hood Feminism. Oh, I gave this a 5 out of 5. Are Prisons Obsolete by Angela Y. Davis. Now, this is the first book I started to annotate, which is why it looks a little messed up, because I'm not good at annotating. But I don't know if y'all can see the pink underlines, but like I was in it. Like I was highlighting stuff. I was feeling overwhelmed with the knowledge. If you're for prisons, like if you're pro-prison, you're going to be anti-prison once you finish reading this, okay? This is just over 100 pages. It's a quick read. I read this in about a day or two. Quick read. Really, like, again, if you're for prisons and feel like prisons are so necessary, how can we be in a world without a prison? You're gonna read this and be like, there's so many other alternatives to prison and so many more rehabilitative and positive ways we can help people who are facing mental illness, facing poverty, and that's the reasoning why they're in prison. You know, we'll find that really we need more community outreach. We need more community advocacy and community help and more funding to help people who are experiencing a lot of the things that are the reasons they're in prison, if that makes sense. I gave that a 5 out of 5. I read this for a class last semester, like an excerpt, and I had to get the whole book to read the whole thing. And I love Angela Davis. So, boom, go read that. Buy the book by Jasmine Guillory. I love Jasmine Guillory. Anything she makes, I'm buying it. So, this book, though, it was a little disappointing. I rated this, I think, a 3.5 or a 3 out of 5 stars, just because it didn't keep my attention and I had to force myself to finish the book. And I feel like a good book, I don't want to put it down. I don't want to move. I just want to soak it all in. I want to be the book, you know? This did not make me want to be it or in it. It kind of dragged. It was a little slow, but I have to say I love that it was a Black plus size woman as the lead character. I have to say I love that it was based off Beauty and the Beast, and it was just like a little rendition, and it's part of the Meant to Be series. So I believe there's another one that's kind of about Cinderella, but in modern day. But yeah, I just had to support. I was stepping out of my usual genre because usually I'm like a romance person, but I read a romance horror book for the first time, either for the first time or like in a long time. But the Undead Truth of Us by Brittany S. Lewis. Look at that cover. That's one of the things that sold me. I saw her on TikTok. She was promoting the crap out of her book and doing a great job at it, might I add. And she sold me off of one TikTok of like the aesthetics of the book. And she was like, it's alternative Black youth with zombies, falling in love, finding yourself, coming of age. I love coming of age stories about Black young girls because we don't see that a lot in books or in movies. And I just feel like we're lacking a lot of that. But like, again, we have Black authors on the rise right now who are doing the work, who are putting in the effort to give us that. And this is why I'm here talking about it. So yeah, Brittany S. Lewis. Also, Barnes & Noble is playing with her and I think a plethora of other Black and minority authors. They're not putting their books on the shelves because they're not selling or they're not worth putting on a shelf because they don't know their worth or whatever. And it's ridiculous because I read this book within like 2-3 days, right? And if it wasn't for me having other stuff to do, I promise you I would have been sitting there just reading this and I would have probably finished this in a day. But this is so good about self-discovery, coming into your own. She's like, Zahari is like the character, 16. She's finding herself. She lost her mother. She's trying to just figure out what life is and what it's about now that she's lost her mother. It's just a great story. It's chef's kiss. I give this a 5 out of 5 off rip. After reading the first chapter, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a 5 out of 5, okay? While We Were Dating by Jasmine Guillory, and I annotated this because there were some good parts to this as well. I believe I gave this a 4 out of 5. Plus size black main character who's famous, first of all, and she's acclaimed actress, like everyone loves her, and she falls for one of the advertising leads of this commercial she's starring in, Ben Stevens. Her name is Anna Gardner, sorry. And they fall in love after, like, well, not fall in love, but they kind of start to like each other within the couple weeks that they're working together for this commercial. Family stuff hits the fan, you know how that goes, and then they get closer because of that. Just a nice romance. There is hints of anxiety, like mentions of anxiety, because she herself has anxiety, so, you know, anxiety rep. And yeah, I just like it. It's really good. It's a romance novel. Again, anything Jasmine Guillory I'm reading. So yeah, there was that. I read a series, or part of a series, called College Life. So this is College Life 101 Freshman Orientation by J.B. Vample. I actually got this at like a college expo a month or two before I went off to college for my freshman year. I didn't read it till now. I'm a senior in college, but I was like, again, I need to read the books that I have on my shelf before I buy more stuff. And unfortunately, I had to give this a 2.5 out of 5 just because I love the concept of this not being a romance, but being about friendship, and how you can have a relationship in college, but it's not like romantic, you know, it's platonic. It can be with girls, it could be your friends, you know what I'm saying? So I was excited when I read the premise of it, but I was very disappointed in like how it kind of panned out, because it just gave cattiness, it gave rude. The friendship didn't feel like a friendship. It felt like, I don't like who I'm rooming with, which is accurate for some people, but like, I don't know, it was just a lot of stuff. Like, I didn't like it. Like, they were mean to each other and they would say things, and like, maybe this is a bit like building up to a broader plot in her other books, because I only read the first 2 out of the 8 that's in the series. But so far, just that book just totally set me off, because I was like, I don't know if I want to continue. And then I read the second book, which is Social Learning Part 2. And I gave this one a 3. So we're moving up a little bit from a 2.5 to a 3 in the second. I think with this, I really liked some of the character development, because there's 5 main characters. So I like that it was some development in some of the characters, and like there were some questions that was in the first book that got answered in this book. But I'm just still a little like, is this what it's gonna be? Because I know, and like, we're not supposed to like pander, and we're not supposed to worry about like what other people think of black girls and black girl friendship, but someone could read that who might not be black, because some of that's not just because we're black and someone doesn't understand, but people can see that as like stereotypical things and kind of attribute that to other black people. I know that's not the point of an author sometimes, but like kind of is too, how it's like perception, and people will read this and think, is this how people who look like this, who are from this place, who are experiencing this, and who are from this class system act like that, you know? Because some of it is like it kind of plays into some stereotypes that I just don't like. Yeah, so there's that. Also, if I read this when I was a freshman when I got it, I think I would have been scared about school, to be honest. Because the way it's set up, it's like, dang, this would make a lot of people not want to go. I am going to get the other part of the series because I do want to support a black author, but I'm going to still be critical. I don't want to say hypercritical, because I want to cut some slack, because there's some books out here written by white folks that's just like, okay, how did this get published? But I do still want to be honest, you know what I'm saying? Because there's always room for improvement, or just things that I just personally don't like, but you might like it. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. Now, on to what I want to read this month of September. My goal is still 4 books because I have a job now. And so August was pretty like lax for me. I didn't have too much going on. But September I'm going to be working a lot in the next coming weeks. So I don't know how much I can read. So 4 is my goal, but if I exceed that or if I don't get to 4 books, great if I get over, great if I don't. You know, I just hope to at least read 1 book, which I have, and it was this book. Even though I said it was August, but I finished yesterday just because, you know, yeah. But yeah, so technically I finished 1 of the 4 books for September, but yeah. So, The Hookup Dilemma by Constance Gilliam. I really didn't read too much. Okay, I know it's bad. Sometimes I don't read the back. I look at the cover and I'm like, sold. But based off the title, it's given, they get together, right? And either they work together, because it's a dilemma. So they either work together, know each other, run into each other, chaos arises. For the hookup dilemma, the back says, what happens when a random hookup turns into the ultimate dilemma? Rashida Howard has never been a one-night stand kind of woman, but she has a good reason for making an exception with Elliot after meeting him at a bar. Cliche, yes. Utterly amazing, absolutely. Regrets, none. Elliot Quinn is a workaholic. The one-night stand, he decides to break his routine. He has an encounter with the woman of his dreams. But no matter how amazing they are together, work will always come first. Both of their lives are turned upside down when they find themselves on opposite sides of an ongoing fight between Elliot's company and Rashida's community. Ooh. Though their chemistry is undeniable, neither of them will risk their integrity or their heart. And just when they think they might have found a solution that benefits both sides, they uncover a secret that will change everything. I'm kind of scared. It's about gentrification. I'm sorry. Once I saw company and community, I just knew it's gonna be like he's building like Amazon or something, and her neighborhood, which is gonna boot everybody out. Ugh. I hope that's not what that's about. Okay. Okay, and then for the Sweetest Remedy, the back of it says, when a woman travels to Nigeria to attend the funeral of the father she never knew, she meets her extravagant family for the first time, finds a new and inspiring love interest, and discovers parts of herself she didn't know were missing. Hannah Bailey has never known her father, the Nigerian entrepreneur who had a brief relationship with her white mother. Because of this, Hannah has always felt uncertain about part of her identity. When her father dies, she's invited to Nigeria for the funeral. Though she wants to hate the man who abandoned her, she's curious about who he was and where he's from. Searching for answers, Hannah boards a plane to Lagos, Nigeria. Oh, please, I hope I said that right. And Banana Island, one of Nigeria's most affluent areas. Hannah meets the Joladets, her late father's prestigious family, some who accept her and some who think she doesn't belong. The days leading to the funeral are chaotic, but Hannah is soon shaped by secrets that unfold. A culture she never thought she would understand or appreciate, and a man who steals her heart and helps her see herself in a new light. I'm kind of enjoying that. I'm ready for that one. Okay, $40 Million Slaves, The Rise, Fall, and Redemption of the Black Athlete by William C. Rodin. Now, it's kind of beat up because, you know, I think this was kind of used. Or is this just the aesthetics of it? Whatever. So I kind of started this and I was on page, okay, I'm on page 2. I got this a couple years back. I was watching a podcast, which sadly has ended. I think their YouTube channel is still up though, The Grapevine. They were talking about LeVar Ball and his sons, Lonzo Ball, LiAngelo, and LaMelo, and how he kind of helped them garner success without the white man. So, someone in the podcast had mentioned this book of how like a lot of white coaches and team sports team owners take advantage of black athletes. Excerpt. From Jackie Robinson to Muhammad Ali and Arthur Ashe, African American athletes have been at the center of modern culture. They're on the field, heroics admired and stratospheric earnings envied. But for all their money, fame, and achievement, says New York Times columnist William C. Rodin, Black athletes still find themselves on the periphery of true power in the multi-billion-dollar industry their talent built. Provocative and controversial, Rodin's $40 million Slaves weaves a compelling narrative of Black athletes in the United States, from the plantation to their beginnings in 19th century boxing rings, and at the first Kentucky Derby to the history-making accomplishments of notable figures such as Jesse Owens, Althea Gibson, and Willie Mays. Rodin makes the cogent argument that Black athletes' evolution has merely been a journey from literal plantations, where sports were introduced as diversions to quell revolutionary stirrings, to today's figurative ones in the form of collegiate and professional sports programs. Weaving in his own experiences growing up on Chicago's South Side, playing college football for an all-Black university, in his decades as a sports writer, Rodin contends that Black athletes' exercise of true power is limited today as when masters force their slaves to race and fight. The primary difference is today's shackles are often of their own making. Every advance made by Black athletes, Rodin explains, has been met with knee-jerking backlash. One example being Major League Baseball's integration of the sport, which stripped the Black-controlled Negro League of its talent and left it to founder. He details the conveyor belt that brings kids from inner cities and small towns to big-time programs where they're cut off from their roots and exploited by team owners, sports agents, and the media. He also sets his sights on athletes like Michael Jordan, who he says have abdicated their responsibility to the community with an apathy that borders on treason. Sweeping and meticulously detailed $40 million Slaves is an eye-opening exploration of a metaphor we only thought we knew. There's that excerpt, and from that, are you not interested? Honey and Spice, Blue Babalola. I'm so excited. The cover, what? Beautiful. I heard it's basically like Dear White People, because the main character, I think, is Kiki. Yeah, Kiki is a radio host on campus. So let's read the excerpt. Sharp-tongued and secretly soft-hearted, Kiki Banjo has, I hope I said her last name right, Banjo, has just made a huge mistake. As an expert in relationship invasion and the host of the popular student radio show Brown Sugar, she's made it her mission to make sure the women of the African Caribbean society at Whitewell College in Southern England do not fall into the mess of situationships, players, and heartbreak. But when the queen of the unbothered kisses Malachi Korede, the guy she just publicly denounced as the waste man of Whitewell, in front of every Black Wellian on campus, she finds her show on the brink. They are soon embroiled in a fake relationship to try and salvage their reputations and save their futures. Kiki has never surrendered her heart before, and a player like Malachi won't be the one to change that, no matter how charming he is or how electric their connection feels. But surprisingly, entertaining study sessions, and intimate late-night talks at old-fashioned diners force Kiki to look beyond her own presumptions. Bye! Love you too! Is she ready to open herself to something deeper? A gloriously funny and sparkling debut novel, Honey and Spice, is full of delicious tension and romantic intrigue that will make you go weak at the knees. I'm excited. And this is going to be the first book I will be reading for this month. And yeah, so I don't want this video to be too long. Thank y'all for watching. If you guys enjoy book content or book related videos, I would definitely appreciate if you can comment something down below if you like that. This is fairly new to me because I think I've only done one other book review video, and that was back in like 2020. So if you guys are interested in like kind of following my journey, doing reading blogs, or just a monthly wrap up if you're not too keen on like constant videos about books, let me know in the comments. All your comments are super helpful and super wonderful, and I love reading all the comments. So yes, thank you again. I'm Santana, and that's the end of this video.